85% of the world's population will at least have one drink in their life. Do you know what that means? That means alcohol is the most used drug in the world. It is good to know that alcohol itself is known as a drug, and that shouldn't be a surprise. So the percentage we just told you shows everybody knows alcohol, and the most famous part about consuming alcohol is getting drunk or getting a little buzzed. When a person consumes alcohol, some parts of the brain slow down, and that causes that drunk feeling to happen. When you drink one shot of vodka, meaning 44 milliliters of it, 20% of that alcohol is consumed by the stomach, but 80% of them will enter your intestines. And after the intestines, it enters the bloodstream, and in the end, it enters the liver to get digested. Alcohol, unlike marijuana, makes you more drunk the more you drink it. But weed doesn't do that because there's a limit to it. And that is why it's impossible to overdose on marijuana. But a person can easily get alcohol poisoning, which is another term for overdosing on alcohol. So we realize that the alcohol enters your body, enters the cells, and before it enters the liver, it goes everywhere with your blood. One of the coolest places they visit is the brain. And that drunk feeling you get when you drink alcohol is because of the blood reaching your brain. So the more alcohol you consume, the higher your blood alcohol level is gonna be, and the more drunk you're gonna get. It's not clear where alcohol usage started in humans, because even in the bodies of different types of apes, there is a gene that could consume, or should I say digest, alcohol. This is a thing that cannot be found in most animals, and alcohol could be poisonous to them. Alcohol is also known as an intoxicant, which is another word for something toxic. But the gene that's found in the human body can consume alcohol and digest it, but that's at a limit, because with too much, you're gonna get alcohol poisoning. So we have this gene. How did the apes get it? Did they drink back in the day, or do they drink right now? Yes, they do consume alcohol, but not the drinks we all know and use today. They basically eat aged fruits from the ground that have formed alcohol in them, and their body evolved to digest that fruit which had alcohol in it. The reason people love alcohol, and you can find them in pretty much all parties, it's because it makes you relax and less shy. So you become more talkative. But this relaxed feeling has a time limit, and the main reason is this organ, the liver. The gene that digests the alcohol is inside the liver, and when you drink alcohol, it slowly leads its way all the way to the liver to get digested and peed out. And when the liver is digesting it, the drunk feeling will start to go away, and that's why you have to drink more to get drunk again. But from the other side, digesting the alcohol is not an easy task. When the liver is doing its job getting rid of that alcohol, it causes dizziness, forgetfulness, and it also makes you sleepy. The stress that was taken away from your brain to have a good time is now put on your liver. After all the pressure this drink has put on your body, and in the end it makes you sleepy, the sleep you're gonna have is not gonna be a proper, healthy, natural sleep. And that's why people have hangovers after consuming alcohol the next day. Like you have a headache, you're nauseous, you're thirsty. And that is why doctors say the sleep after consuming a lot of alcohol is not natural sleep. And doctors like to say you poisoned yourself to sleep rather than fell asleep. They taught 3 college students about a programming lesson and made them take a test. All 3 of them got a 90%, and that means it's an A-. But the experiment was not over yet. They told the first person to not consume any alcohol and go to sleep at a good time. They told the second person each night before sleep consume 3 shots of vodka. And they told the third person don't drink for 3 days, but after 3 days, drink 3 shots of vodka before sleep. After 1 week, All 3 of them returned to class, and they gave them the same exact test they gave last week. The first one that didn't consume any alcohol got a 90% again. The second person that popped 3 shots a night saw a 50% decrease on their test, and that means they got a 40% on it. And the third person that took shots after 3 days had a 40% decrease on their grade, so they got a 50. This experiment really shows you what a lot of alcohol does to a person. Doctors tell people to not drink a lot of alcohol, and if you're an alcoholic and you can't stop, try to drink during the day rather than night, because day drinking allows your body to digest the alcohol before you sleep. So you're gonna have a natural sleep rather than poisoning yourself to sleep. Hard alcohols like vodka, whiskey, cognac, tequila, and others are much easier to make someone an alcoholic. Other drinks like beer and wine could make you an alcoholic as well, don't get me wrong. But these ones are much easier to get a person hooked because it has a higher percentage of alcohol, and with very little, you could consume a lot. Another interesting thing you need to know about consuming alcohol is the food that you eat with it. So if you drink alcohol on an empty stomach, it will put an effect much faster and much harder. But if you have food in your stomach, most of the alcohol would be consumed by the food, so the effect will be much less. Nowadays, whatever movie or show you watch, you always see parties or people hanging out with their drinks in their hands. This is kind of a bad method to teach people and normalize drinking all the time. And everybody thinks it's cool to drink all the time. It was the same thing like back in the day where everybody was smoking cigarettes to look cool. And watching those movies made you want to go buy a pack. But alcohol is one of the most addicting drugs in the world, and it's not talked about enough. When we say alcoholic, we're talking about someone who's addicted to alcohol, and they have to drink all day, all night to feel normal. We've heard of withdrawal symptoms from drugs like meth, cocaine, and others, but we've never talked about the withdrawal symptoms of an alcoholic person, which is not much different from the other hard drugs we heard about. Some people literally believe that alcohol is good for you. Some say that beer is good for you, wine is good for you, but too much of everything is never good for you. The damage that alcohol does on the entire body on one hand, and the damage it does to your liver on the other hand, because it really puts an effect on the liver. But sometimes when you drink some beer, drink some wine, or even take some shots, it's not a problem. But that's sometimes, not all the time, because if you go too much, you become an alcoholic. One of the drugs in the world with the highest addiction rate is alcohol, and after cigarette is number 2. In the world, there are 1.1 billion people who are addicted to cigarettes. And in second place, we got 400 million alcoholics around the world. This is the number that the World Health Organization has came up with. In this video, we're not telling you to drink alcohol, to not drink alcohol. We are telling you that the numbers are painting a different story, and it's a dark one. Alcohol is extremely easy to get addicted to, easier than other hard drugs because it's available everywhere you go. Every party you go, every meeting you go, there's always alcohol. Either way, don't take alcohol as a joke, and don't believe that it's better than other drugs.